So last Thursday night, Halloween Ends made its debut to the world, and uh, it is the conclusion, or so they say. Who knows in 5 years from now what they do, but made its final statement to the fans and has been received with a very mixed bag of reviews. I know, like on Rotten Tomatoes, not that Rotten Tomatoes is the whole overarching opinion on the movie, but it has like a 41%, and the audience score is barely above that. I think it's like 56, and it has divided many Halloween fans. I was told when I went in, you'll either love it or you'll hate it, and you'll kind of get your opinion after the first 15 minutes of the movie. Um, that the way you feel after the first 15 minutes is how you're going to feel for most of the movie, which I will give it a little bit of leeway and say you'll have an opinion after the first like 30 minutes. There's a moment in the movie where you expect it to go right and it goes left, and it just goes really hard left, and it is just it's its thing. And I'm here to give you my opinion on the film. I'm a big Halloween fan. I've been a Halloween fan for years. Um, I haven't been the biggest trooper when it comes to horror movies. I've always been scared. So growing up, I've been able to form opinions on them and watch them with my eyes, not hiding behind my hands. And Halloween was one of the first franchises that I've been able to do that with. I've seen every single one, I'm pretty sure. Some of them only once. The later ones in the original sequence of films, uh, I've only seen once, but there's some of them I've seen multiple times. The original two, I love to death. They are amazing. Obviously, the original is my favorite, probably my favorite horror movie of all time in general. The 2018 reboot was amazing, sequel slash reboot, I guess, because it's a sequel off the original, but a reboot of the timeline. Uh, I loved that one so much. I thought it was really well done. And then Kills, while it wasn't amazing, I loved it as I got to just see Michael Myers run around slashing people. Uh, and that's all I can ask for as a Halloween fan. Michael Myers himself is my favorite horror movie icon. Uh, Obviously, he's been around for forever, so it's kind of easy to pick him. And yeah, Halloween Ends came out. And I want to preface this by saying if you are not a big Halloween fan, I would still go try to check this movie out. It is a very different and original take. And while I'll just come out and say it right now, while I didn't enjoy the film at all, really, um, I think people who want something new or who will love an original, fresh take on something, I think this movie could please you. And I think if you are a diehard Halloween fan, you could love it and you could hate it. I really do agree with what people are saying. I find it very hard to find a middle area to this movie. It really does seem like the movie's either setting out to really, I don't want to say make people hate it, because obviously I really don't think that's what people are trying to say, that the directors really wanted Halloween fans to get aggravated. I don't think that's what they were trying to do. I really do think they wanted an original take on something. Um, and it just doesn't work. And it doesn't work in the sense that it's just too late for something like this. And the marketing is completely um it's marketing you the wrong movie. And I don't want to spoil anything. I'll get into spoilers in the later half of this review, sorry. Um this movie's about a new character named Corey Cunningham, and I'm not going to get into him personally because he is literally probably the main character of this film, which is shocking to say, and it breaks my heart to say, because if this really is the final Halloween movie, I really wish it was really only about Laurie and Michael, but unfortunately they introduced this new character who comes in and does a series of events that causes the course of this plot to go haywire, and 30 minutes in something else happens, and then it goes one way, and then it's just spiraling out of control from there. um I have the plot synopsis up here. I will read it to you so I don't spoil anything, and then I'll just kind of get into what I did and did not like, and then maybe some middle. I don't know if I really will have anything, but um, the synopsis here is 4 years after the events of Halloween Kills, Laurie is living with her granddaughter Allison and is finishing writing her memoir. Michael Myers hasn't been seen since. Laurie, after allowing the specter of Michael to determine and drive her reality for decades, has decided to liberate herself from fear and rage and embrace life. But when a young man, Corey Cunningham, is accused of killing a boy he was babysitting, it ignites a cascade of violence and terror that will force Laurie to finally confront the evils that she can't control, once and for all. So there you go. That's kind of the storyline of the movie, and if you've never heard that before, if it's your first time hearing that, it doesn't really sound like a Halloween movie, at least in my personal opinion. So yeah, that's kind of where I'll end it, and I'll get into I'll start with what I liked. I will say the cold open of this movie, what kind of kicks it off, is a very gritty, gross way to open a movie. Without getting into spoilers, it's pretty much your traditional Halloween opening. You're gonna see something shocking. You're gonna see something that's gonna get the vibe going and kind of set you on this course of excitement for what you're about to see. I think 2018 was one of the only ones that I can really remember that didn't really do it too well. Like, it was kind of like weird, but that's also setting it up. I think Kills was a great example of how to do it. Obviously, the firefighters go to the house. You see Laurie and them after their last stand with Michael. And this one starts off with this Corey Cunningham character, and you kind of get to see what sets off the events of this movie with him. And yeah, I did like how it opened. It's very like, whoa, and then there's that traditional, like, the 2018 did it, but he was in 2018, he says, like, say something, Michael, say something. Say something! And then it cuts to the amazing John Carpenter score. And something I've noticed, and many Halloween fans have noticed as well, is when the title for the movie appears, like the last two, it's been that iconic orange font, Halloween Kills, whatever. And this time, instead of it being that orange iconic font, it's this blue Halloween Kills font, which is a callback to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. And like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything yet, but it's very much a sign of change. This is not your traditional Halloween movie. It's very much something different. And that was kind of cool. And I don't want to talk about too much, so I'm going to kind of skip, because there's something I really liked in the opening that I can't really talk about here. So I'll go on to the actors themselves. I really did enjoy the kid who played Corey Cunningham. Well, I'm not a big fan of his character. I do like the actor Rohan Campbell, if I'm saying that correctly. He did a fantastic job at doing what he needed to do to sell his character. While I didn't like his character, it's not because of his performance. It's very much because of how they writ his character, and how he came out of nowhere in this final confrontation. Jamie Lee Curtis is amazing again. She never misses when she comes back. She's just so much fun to watch, and you can tell that she really appreciates the character of Laurie Strode, and she really is grateful for this franchise that ignited her career, and she kills it every time. Andi Matichak, I hope I'm saying that right. She plays Allison, who was in 2018 and Kills. Kind of the in 2018, the second coming of the final girl. She was what I thought was going to be the main characters of these new movies. She's great in this one. She has much more to do in this one, in my opinion, just because this one has much more of a story than Kills. Her character is still the best in 2018, but after Kills, I would say this is the most she has gotten since 2018. She also is a driving force of the story that this movie is trying to tell you. And yeah, she does a great job with her role. Um, Man, I'm really trying to think of things I liked. One thing I did like, and I will talk about it here, is I have a letterbox review too that I might flash a picture of or something or put in the comments. But this movie does use old footage of the OG Halloween, the original, and obviously I am a Halloween fan, and so while the movie itself wasn't great, it's always hard not to crack a smile or get giddy when you see the original one and how they use it. And yeah, that was cool. I liked it. Obviously, if you've seen the trailers, if you haven't seen the trailers, skip like 30 seconds. But um, in the trailer, it shows Michael. He stabs someone on the wall again, and he does the head tilt. That's a very, very cool moment in the movie, and something I very much appreciated. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think that's all I have to say. The music is great. I don't know if I've already said that, but the music is also great. John Carpenter does it again. That's something I never expect him to miss. But I really genuinely think that is all I have to say. And maybe when I talk about the spoilers and I can get into it more, maybe it will ignite a spark. But base level review, those are the good things I have. And like I said, I'm a Halloween fan, so if you want to hear a unbiased opinion, or if someone who isn't going to get upset with a Halloween movie that feels nothing like a Halloween movie, then I don't recommend watching this review. For things I disliked, this is a very lackluster finish to such a great franchise. And I know there's been bad Halloween movies in the past, but to market it as the final movie and to have a new trilogy that I've somewhat enjoyed, I can't believe this is the direction they chose to go. Uh, it really feels like this was meant to be two movies, and after the success of the first one, they were like, okay, well, maybe we can get away with the trilogy. So they started writing one, and then Kills came out, and I think they kind of changed how they wanted Kills to end to write this movie. Um, and I'm pretty sure originally there's reports that it was supposed to be two, and I know that Halloween Kills had a story, or Halloween Ends, sorry. Halloween Ends had a story, and then they changed it. And I'm really curious to see where they were going to go with Ends originally. Um, and maybe there's some director's cut that they'll drop that adds more context to the story they have here. But I don't know where they got this movie from the two they told. Michael has always sort of had a supernatural side, and for this movie, they really do lean into that. I wouldn't say supernatural. I don't want to give. That's not really what happens, but things get weird for sure. Um, this new character they introduce in this movie feels too little, too late. If you were gonna do something like this, I feel like it should have happened in the 2018 one and kind of built his character from that movie to here and make us feel some emotional connection to him, which is one of my biggest gripes. I feel like this movie could have worked if this is what we got in 2018, and what we got in 2018 was the final film. I think if you were to flip those and kind of tell the story that way and remove the ending of this movie and put the ending of this movie into 2018 with the amazing finale of that movie, I think it could have worked perfectly. It just feels like they had a perfect finale in 2018, and then they wanted to do something more because money drives this world, and they made a lot of money from 2018, and 2018 got good reviews, relatively good reviews. It wasn't like amazing, like people weren't saying like this is the greatest Halloween movie of all time, but people certainly did like it, and I feel like they bit off more than they could chew with this movie. Another thing I really, really, really dislike is how Michael Myers is treated in this film. I kind of viewed it walking out as It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Both movies that I love the first It Chapter 1, and then Chapter 2 I don't like as much, but it has its moments. But when It came out and the trailers came out, I remember being terrified because Pennywise was someone who scared me when I was a kid. Sewer drains were never the same. And after watching the first It, I was like, yeah, like there's a genuine reason to be scared of this clown, because they wrote him off so well. They did such a great job bringing him back and modernizing him in a way that still makes him scary. Um, and then the second one came out, and it's minor, I guess not minor, spoilers if you haven't seen those and you plan on watching them. But when you see Spider Pennywise running around this cave, it gets kind of silly, and you kind of lose all fear from this creature. Um, and now when I watch those movies, I'm not really scared anymore. I'm just kind of like amazed at how cool of a character he is, and enjoying how crazy he is. By crazy, I mean like messed up, not how crazy he is when he's a spider, or whatever he is at the end of that second one. And I feel like that's what happens here. I feel like I've been so, I guess not terrified, because as I've grown up, Michael hasn't really scared me. These movies have not been really scary, but you know, that childhood fear of when you hear that music and you think of Michael Myers, it was spine chilling as a kid, and something that I held close to the heart my entire life. And after watching this movie, I can say that Michael Myers is not scary anymore. So I'm kind of glad, and I really do hope this is the final movie, because he is not scary. He hasn't been scary since 20. Well, Kills, he had his moments when he was doing some awful things to these people. I was like, that is terrifying. You are doing some stuff. The scene in particular in Kills, when he goes to the park and is chasing after Lindsay Wallace, who is in the original, the little girl, played by Kyle Richards, who also returns in Ends. But when he's chasing her through like the park, and you hear us breathing through that mask, and it's the shot where she's ducked under the tree, by the roots of the tree, and he's standing there, and it's him standing there, and it's her down there. That was pure horror. Like that is something that really got to me, made my hairs on my arm stand up. None of that's there in this movie because of where they take it. It's very silly, and Michael doesn't strike any little bit of fear, at all. Maybe the first time you see him in this movie, maybe you're like, ugh, like, because you think you're gonna get Michael, but you don't get that. So that's my biggest that's probably the number one problem I have with this movie, is how Michael Myers is treated. He's very much a side character in his own movie, which is kind of ridiculous in my opinion. Man, I really, I I will stop there with my review, my non-spoiler review, because I really need to talk about the spoilers and kind of speed through those real quick so this isn't too long. But overall, if you want an overall opinion, a real quick send-off for people who don't want to hear spoilers, this is a bad Halloween movie, and it's not even a great movie. The script is really bad. The pacing is not great either. If you just want to hear the fundamentals of the movie, there are some good shots and imagery, maybe. But fundamentally, as a movie, it is not that great. I found myself laughing sometimes at the script. There are some times where the actors make very great decisions with what they were given, and it makes some of the silly script easier to swallow, because the characters do some stuff with the line delivery. That's pretty cool. The pacing is really weird. You'll see something really jarring or really weird or dark and like and gritty, and then all of a sudden it will cut to someone like totally fine, happy, going on with their day. And that's all I really have to say. It's not a great movie. I'm pretty sure on Letterboxd I gave it a 1.5 out of 5. And I think that's where I'd stand on it as of now. Maybe drop it to 1. I've only seen this movie once. I know it's on Peacock. I just don't really think I could sit through it again right now. Maybe in a couple days I'll rewatch it. I'm kind of trying to feel out the general consensus of this film and hearing out people who like the film. Uh, but after watching it for myself, I can't watch it again right now. It was a drag to sit through. It hurt my heart as a Halloween fan. So, um, 1.5 out of 5. And now I'm going to head into spoilers. So to get into the thick of it here for spoilers, this movie starts with a cold open of Corey Cunningham babysitting a little boy, and it's like this um, traditional like start to a Halloween movie. These two people are in this house alone. The parents go to, I think, a Halloween party, from what I remember. They're all dressed up. They look like they're like, I don't know, like the Great Gatsby or whatever. And they go, and a really cute callback here at the beginning. They're watching The Thing, and in the original, they're also watching not The Thing. They're watching what The Thing was based off. I forgot the name. It's like The Thing from Another Planet or something. What The Thing was the remake of The Thing, the original the movie. John Carpenter's The Thing is based off that, and a really cute callback from to the original where the kids are watching that, Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace, and they're kind of sitting there, and you can tell from the beginning that this Corey Cunningham character is kind of a nerd, a dork, kind of antisocial and outcast. You find out he's going to be a mechanic. He's going to some mechanic school. He's in high school as well, so he's around the same age as Allison. And anyway, the parents leave, and this kid he's babysitting kind of starts becoming a brat. He's saying really rude stuff. He says that Corey at one point's like, maybe we should stop watching this movie. And the kid's like, oh, you're just scared of the movie. Like, you're just a wimp. And he goes, I'm not scared. It's kind of funny how Rohan Campbell acts this, Rohan, sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, how he acts this scene out, because he's like, he's getting annoyed with the kid, and you can tell that the movie may actually be freaking him out, but he's upset that the kid's like making fun of him. So he's like, I'm not scared. What are you talking about? And he's trying to hold himself, and then something happens. It's the scene from The Thing where the head like rips off, and it's the really cool practical effects from The Thing. And he's like, okay, maybe we should turn this off. And then he goes to the kitchen. It loves to focus on chocolate milk in this movie for some odd reason. He goes to get some chocolate milk, and he grabs a knife, and he goes to cut this bread, this like brown bread, and you hear the clutter. And at this point, I'm sold. I'm like, okay, here comes Michael. It's a year after the events of the 2018 and Kills. I'm pretty sure it's 2019 Halloween, and the 2018 one is the same year. It's 2018, and Kills is the same night. So it's a year after Michael brutally murdered a lot of people in Haddonfield, and so it's portraying this. It shows this back door open, and the wind is blowing the curtain. Classic Halloween stuff. And Corey grabs the knife from the table and is walking around the house, and you hear banging, and he goes to the room where the kid was, and the kid's missing. And I'm expecting an awesome gory kill to start this movie. Michael killing this kid somehow. Not that, killing this kid is by any means awesome, but a cool Michael moment. And he searches this house, and he ends up going up the house. It's like a mansion, so it's like 3 floors. He goes up to the top. He goes to the attic where he hears this kid screaming, and then the door locks, and the kid's like taunting him. He's like, Michael's gonna get you, Michael's gonna get you, which is so funny because the parents, before they leave the house, say how scared this boy is of Michael, and how he has nightmares at night, and he like talks in his sleep, I think, or something, and is so scared of what Michael did a year ago that he doesn't behave anymore. He like wets the bed. And so it's weird that this kid is throwing his fear at this older kid, but he does it anyway. He says like, Michael's gonna get you, and it's freaking Corey out. And while this is all happening, the parents come back from the party. It's hours after they left. And they walk into the house, and Corey's still locked in, and they hear him scream, "I'm going to kill you," to the little boy. And the little boy's locking the door shut, holding it shut. And Corey's kicking the door. He kicks it so hard that the door flings open, and the kid gets hit in the head and falls over the railing. And it's a really cool shot where when the parents come in, they hear Corey say, "I'm going to kill you." And it shows the mom turning back to the father. And you kind of just see in the background the stairs going up. And then all of a sudden this body falls and hits the floor. And then it cuts back and the kid's head like flings up. Gwen Stacy, Amazing Spider-Man 2 moment. And the kid is dead. It's a very jarring moment. The parents run obviously to the body, and the mom is like shocked, and she looks up, and Corey Cunningham has a knife in his hand, and the boy is dead on the floor 3 floors below him. And then she's like screams, "What have you done?" And then obviously the amazing John Carpenter score comes in, and it's Halloween ends with this pumpkin. They always love to do the pumpkin. Halloween 2018 was really cool when it reignited. This one is also really cool what they do with it. I don't know if it's a stop motion of a pumpkin or if it's CGI. I would imagine it's CGI this time, but I don't know if in 2018 they found a way to. Well, they couldn't have, because unless they time lapse it backwards. I'm not too sure, but it's always so cool to see how they do it. But anyway, it shows a pumpkin, and then you can kind of see like a ball inside the pumpkin's nose, and it grows, and another pumpkin emerges out. It destroys, it like cracks open that pumpkin, and then another pumpkin comes, and it just keeps repeating that and repeating that and repeating that. And then, like I said in the non-spoiler section, the font is the classic Halloween 3 Season of the Witch font. It's blue. And like I said, a warning of what's to come, a warning of what this movie is bringing to the table. So anyway, I'm pretty sure my memory is pretty hazy, because I can promise you I had this exact hat on when I was watching it. I at moments I would grab my hat and like hide my eyes because I was so sick of what I was watching. I'm pretty sure it then cuts to Laurie. Yes, it cuts to Laurie giving a voiceover of how it's been 4 years since Michael killed those people. And it shows cool footage from the movie of the first one, saying how she survived those events of that night, and he killed people 44 years ago. And then how he repeated it the night of on Halloween Kills. And it shows the death of Judy Greer's character, Laurie's daughter, which again was so jarring, and it doesn't make it any better to re-see it, especially after seeing how the movie doesn't really talk about that anymore. But Laurie has decided to move on, to turn a new leaf, and she's writing a memoir, and she's writing about how we must move on from grief, and we have to move on and accept our past and deal with the consequences from things that affect our lives, or something along those lines, right? A really cool moment at the end, she writes, "We must face it," or something, and then she says him, and then she says evil. We must face evil. Just kind of doubling down on the fact that Michael isn't really a person. He's the shape. He is just evil itself, right? Which is what this trilogy has very much been trying to hammer home. Michael is not human. He is evil. He is the essence. I think that's what they love to say in the first two. He is the essence of evil. So anyway, she gives this opening monologue, and then it shows Allison, and then, if I'm remembering correctly, this is the part where Laurie burns the pumpkin pie, and a really cool moment because you're seeing a new Laurie at this moment, and then she kind of returns to form and starts cussing up a storm because she burns the pie, and Allison's like, "It's okay, I'm gonna go." The cute little dynamic between Laurie and Allison, something that's always been strong in these movies, I feel like. Obviously, maybe not kills because Laurie was hospitalized the whole time, but in the first one, their dynamic was great, and they have great chemistry in this one too. So that was nice to see as well. It cuts back to Corey, I believe. I may be telling you some of this stuff out of order. I really am having a hard time remembering because this movie is just all over the place. But it cuts back to Corey, and it kind of shows how Corey is a outcast in this town, and how he is currently the modern day boogeyman to Haddonfield. Michael's been gone for so long that these people no longer fear him as their boogeyman. They fear Corey Cunningham after the events. He is the modern day boogeyman. He is the person that he is the monster in this town right now. Um, he he kind of just goes through his day-to-day life, and I'm gonna skip a little bit. I know I'm skipping, but there's a scene where he goes to a gas station and gets chocolate milk yet again. And this was so weird in this movie. These band kids come up to him and they're like, "Hey, dude, we're seniors. We have this game tonight. We're performing at this game. Can you buy us a six-pack?" And he's a goody two-shoes. He's a very good kid. That's what they want you to believe at the beginning of the movie, that what he did at the beginning was an accident, which it genuinely was. Most people who watch this movie are going to think that he is an innocent man. Well, not innocent. He did kill the boy, but it was completely by accident. He never meant it. He was freaked out. He wanted out of the room. He kicked the door open, and it got the boy killed. But these people are like, "Can I have a six-pack?" He says no. They ask again. He says no. And then they recognize him. They say, "You're that crazy guy from who killed that boy. You're the crazy babysitter." And they keep chastising him and making fun of him. And he has this glass chocolate milk, and he gets so mad he crushes it with his hand. And it's this really gnarly shot of his hand sliced open and glass in it. Really like gory like moment. Kind of made my hairs on my neck stand up. I was like, "Oh, that's disgusting." And they push him, and then Laurie comes out from the background out of nowhere. She's getting gas, and she says, "Leave him alone," and pretty much just stops the kid from bullying him. The thing that is weird that I was going to say is that they're band kids, but the main kid in this group is very much a jock. I can never imagine a band kid being this aggressive to someone. I personally in high school was I did show choir, and this doesn't seem, it seems very much like the quarterback on the football team, but nonetheless, Laurie stops them, and then they say something along the lines like, "Oh, look, a freak and a psycho." And then there's a really cute line where the kids run away, and Laurie goes up to the kid, and she goes, "So are you the freak? So who's the freak and who's the psycho?" And it's a really cute line because Laurie has kind of embraced that people are weirded out by her and her earlier fascination with Michael in 2018, and then obviously with her being so driven to kill him in the first two. So anyway, there's another moment where she says, "So who's gonna do it?" And at this point, like, it was a millisecond, but I was like, "There's no way they're gonna threaten to kill these kids, right? Like, what's happening?" And she flicks open a pocket knife or whatever, and you find out they just slash the kids' tires, and then they run away. Cute moment between Corey and Laurie. And at this point, I'm kind of still sold. It's only probably like 20 minutes into the film. And Laurie and this Corey kid have a cute dynamic where I was like, okay, well, he might just be a new character gonna help them fight Michael. So then anyway, Laurie eventually tries to get Allison to date this kid, or to go to this Halloween party with this boy, which Allison ends up doing. Allison finds a sort of comfort in him, as they are both very broken people. They've been through so much. So they see a lot of themselves in each other, which kind of lights a spark. I will kind of say that their romance is kind of rushed. She goes from like meeting this boy and like liking him to the next day like wanting to like run away with him. Really, really weird stuff. Not believable at all. Their dynamic together is believable. Um, like the chemistry the actors have, but how fast it happens is not. Kind of happens way too fast. But anyway, they go to this Halloween party later on, and they're having a grand old time. They're having fun. Allison gives him a scarecrow mask. Uh, I think to kind of like help him blend in because every time he goes out, he hates going out because every time he goes out, he gets made fun of or he gets like chastised. So he goes out and he at one point he's partying, he takes his mask off, and the mom of the boy he killed is at this party, and she starts yelling at him like, "You killed my son, you got him killed, like you should not be allowed here to be out like smiling, having fun." So he runs away and he gets mad at Allison saying like, "I'm not your project, I'm human, uh, you'll never understand me, blah blah blah." And then he's walking home and those band kids come back up, and earlier in the movie they go to repair the car that he slashed the tires of because he's a mechanic, and they go to his place, so he sees them. And I think at that moment the boy kind of was like, okay, like I'm coming after you, um the band kid. And then so Corey's walking home from this party, and they pull over and they're making fun of him again. They're pushing him around. He's like, "I just want you to say sorry to me." And at this moment, Corey kind of takes advice from like Lori and Allison and stands up for himself. Earlier when they're at the junkyard, you see this band kid's dad. He's like a real douchebag. He's not nice to him, and he smacks him upside the head. So Corey claps back when, in this moment, at the bridge, after the party, he kind of claps back and says, "I know what it feels like to not be loved," and or something like that. And I can tell your dad doesn't love you. So then the kid gets really mad and they start wailing on Corey and they throw him off this bridge. And he falls off the bridge and they think they killed him. They're like, "Oh my God, you killed him. Let's go." And then the band kid's like, "I didn't kill him," which is so hypocritical of this band kid because the band kid's making fun of him because he killed this little boy by accident. And if you did just kill Corey, you accidentally just committed murder. Maybe that's a message the movie's trying to convey that just went over my head, but anyway, he's on the ground, and from off screen, it's his from his torso up. He gets pulled into this random sewer drain, Pennywise style. You don't see who grabbed him. He's just in the sewer, and then he wakes up a little bit later, and he's in the sewer. You see it in the trailer. This whole sequence is in the trailer pretty much. But he's walking around. It's this cobweb-filled sewer. And he's walking, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Michael reaches his hand out, grabs him by the neck, and is choking him. And then this is where things get really weird. And this isn't even the weirdest the movie gets, really. But Michael has him in his grasp, and they make eye contact like lovers, and there's like this like little glare in Michael's eyes, and then it shows Corey reliving the events from, it's like a quick like flashback, like a flash of memories from when Corey killed this little boy, and then Michael lets him go and he gets out of the tunnel. The movie never elaborates what happened here, but I'm led to believe that Michael gave off some sort of piece of him, some sort of evil possessed him somehow, gave him an attachment. I don't know. I really don't know. It's weird. It's a really weird moment in the movie. And that's all that you see of Michael in that moment. Michael doesn't walk around, doesn't stalk this kid. He lets him go. He's like, "Okay, I gave you a little piece of my heart. Here you go. Bye." And then he comes outside, and this homeless man who lives under this bridge comes up and he goes, "Why do you let you go? Like you got out. No one gets out of there. Why do you let you go?" And then he goes, "Well, I want you to do me a favor and go get Michael's mask for me. I'm Michael Myers." Which is again really weird. I don't know if Michael like these people look into his eyes and they just like love him or like want to do stuff for him. But anyway, the kid the homeless man has a knife, so then Corey stabs him, kills that homeless man, and runs away. And then in a really weird homage to the original, and kind of where the red flag started showing up for me personally, uh, Lori's in her house typing more of the memoir, I believe. And I think she gives another monologue. Uh, and she looks out the window, and from like the original where the clotheslines are, she looks out the window and she sees Corey outside the window behind like a little hedge, a little bush. And really weird because it's not Michael, it's Corey. And obviously at this point in the movie, you kind of understand that what the movie's trying to do with Corey. But anyway, she goes outside, and this movie loves to do this, but there's like so many unnecessary jump scares. So she's just staring at the bush, and he's not there, and then all of a sudden he like pops out from behind her, and it goes like, it plays a loud like bang, like bum. And he talks about like, I just need to see Allison. Where's Allison? And then at this point, Laurie kind of senses some sort of red flag in Corey. She chalks it up later as saying that she saw the same evil in his eyes that she sees in Michael's, which continues this weird theme throughout this trilogy of Michael's eyes and the fascination of Michael's face. In the first one, they wanted to see his face. In the second one, they wanted to, I guess in that one, they didn't want to do anything. Maybe they wanted, I don't remember. Did they want to take his mask off in that one? I don't remember. And in this one, they're fascinated with his eyeballs. But anyway, he talks to Allison, and then they have this little moment where they're like, I want to get out of here. Let's burn it all to the ground. Let's get our revenge, burn it to the ground, and leave. So now Allison is like in love with this psychopath, and kind of not believable to me that she is okay with saying this. He asked her, why are you still here? Why are you in Haddonfield? Like, after what, excuse me, what you've been through, what makes you want to stay? And she goes, I have memories here. So I don't just want to leave them. So then they agree, like, okay, well, let's get revenge and leave. Maybe Allison doesn't, but that's what he's like hinting at. Like, let me get revenge on all the people who have wronged me, and then I'll leave. So they agree on wanting to leave Haddonfield, and during that talk, Allison, who early in the movie is harassed by this cop who you find out is her ex-boyfriend, he comes up and talks to them, and he's like he's bugging them. He's bothering them at this table. He's like, why aren't you calling me? Like, why aren't you calling back? And then Corey kind of stands up for himself, and he's like, leave us alone. So then you find out this is Corey's next victim. Corey's going to want to kill this guy. And you can just kind of feel the negative energy in the air. Corey is not a big fan of this guy. He drives away from the diner. Oh, man, yeah, this is when things get really weird. He drives away from the diner. He leaves Allison. He has this little motorcycle. He loves this motorcycle. And he drives to under the bridge. And he kind of like knows that this cop, this Allison's ex, is tailing him. So he's like running around, and he's like laughing, Corey. And he runs into the sewer, and the cop recognizes that he's in the sewer, so he goes in, and there's a really cool shot, not gonna lie here, it's pretty cool. You see like Corey, I think, standing behind him, and then when it turns back, you see Michael like sitting there, like just like you can just like see kind of like the mask of Michael sitting there. And so a really cool moment, and then he turns around, and then Corey is like standing there like power posing over him. And Michael then jumps out of the darkness and attacks him. And then Corey helps, like, tag teams him, and then is holding him down and says, like, teach me. Which, what do you need to know? Michael kills people in the most common ways. Well, maybe other than, like, stepping on their heads and kicking a door and getting a woman to shoot herself in the head. That, maybe not that extent. but Michael just stabs people most of the time. So what do you need to know? What are we learning here? Anyway, Michael stabs him a bunch of times, and then he like busts nut. He gets like has like an orgasm after he kills this guy. I took it as a sense of like he is getting his strength back. He is becoming the boogeyman again. He is striking fear. Like they always say that Michael can't live. Michael feeds off their fear. Michael is as strong as the fear that he gives out. So he starts like shaking, and then it's this really cool moment where Michael, like, you can see Michael like gaining strength. And at this point, I'm like, let's go. Michael is back. I've waited long enough. This is great. I love this. Well, then I was wrong again, because he leaves. Corey leaves, and he goes outside, and I'm pretty sure he calls Allison and is like, something's happening to me. Or maybe that's before. I don't know. But Corey is noticing that like he has moments where he like can tell that like he's like turning to the dark side. So anyway, next on the list is this woman who Allison is trying to get a promotion, and she's in a fight with this other girl. Like they're both the most likely to get the promotion. So Corey goes to this person's house. Sorry, I shouldn't spoil it because you really don't know it's Corey yet, but you see the main doctor at this hospital, the boss, is hooking up with this doctor that is in competition with Allison to get this promotion. And she says like, I'm gonna go change, I gotta go shower, and the doctor's like, go to the room. So she goes to the room and they split up, and at this point it's my mom next to me, my brother, I was with the group, and me and my brother look at each other, and he looks at me with like a smile, and I'm like, she's gone, like, see you later. And so she walks to the room. Also, I knew she was gonna die because you see it in the trailer. It's the girl, like, it's pinned on the wall. But she goes to the room, and there's a box that says congrats on the promotion, and she opens the box, and then she goes outside where they got the pool going, and the main doctor starts like lighting. There's like a fireplace out there, like an electronic fire, not electronic, but like a nice fire because he's rich. And she goes out there, and the lights turn on, and you see Corey in his scarecrow mask with a bag over the doctor's head, stabbing him a bunch. And at this point, I'm starting to tap out. I'm like, okay, so far every kill we've seen has been due part because of Corey. Like Corey's been part of every single kill. Michael has not killed one person by himself. So anyway, Corey kills this guy, and then the woman runs back inside, and Corey doesn't get in time. The woman gets inside, and Corey's like banging on the door, and then Corey just stops banging on the door, and then it's the scene from the trailer where that sliding door opens and Michael's there, and then Michael's killing this woman. He grabs her by the neck, holds her up against the wall, and stabs her in like the gut, and she's pinned on the wall, and then he does the head tilt. Super cool moment as a Halloween fan. I was like, oh, heck yeah, that's awesome. Probably the most iconic kill, in my opinion. My favorite kill in any of them, probably. And then Michael kills him. And then Corey, while this is happening, has his hand on the door. And he's like feeding off the energy Michael. That may not be what's happening, but the way it's shot and the way he's like holding his hand out makes it feel like he's getting he is also getting strength from this kill. He's being powered by this kill. So then after that, Laurie pretty much, I'm skipping so much at this point. After that, Laurie tells Allison, like, don't date this guy. Like, I regret telling you this. Like, I see the same evil in him as I do in Michael. And then she's like, no, you're wrong, blah, blah, blah. So then at this point, Corey has decided that the next victim on his list is Lori. Lori's the last piece in the way. Before that, though, or after, there's a really cool shot of Corey goes to Allison's house or Lori's house to go get it on with Allison, and the way they frame it makes it look like the opening shot from Halloween, the original, where they go up Michael's Judith Myers and her boyfriend go up to do the deed, and it was framed kind of like that, and Lori's outside like watching them go up the stairs, and then Michael is watching from behind a tree.
I was certain that I saw him.
And you hear his breathing, and he like walks away, and then Lori looks, and it's too late. Michael's gone. And then so at this point, Corey has now realized he goes to this house. He goes to the house where he killed the boy by accident, and Lori finds him there, and he's laying in the kid's blood because the dried up blood is still on the floor. And I'm not going to act like I know everything that happened here, because this is one of the first movies in like years, literally probably like 5 years, where I've gotten up in the middle to go use the bathroom. So I missed the beginning of this conversation, but pretty much Lori's like I'm on, like she's like on him pretty much or whatever, I think. And then he pretty much is warning her like, I'm coming for you, like Michael's coming and blah blah blah. And then he looks back and Lori's like gone. She disappeared. So then this kind of leads us to the final act, and probably the worst move in any Halloween movie ever. This is when things I wanted the movie to be over instantly. I hated it. I hated this decision. You're gonna start probably hearing some frustration in my voice, because this is when things really made me very, very upset. Corey goes back to the sewer, and at this point I'm like, okay, maybe he's gonna go get Michael, or he's like bringing someone else to help Michael get stronger. Well, no, Corey has gone full-on batshit crazy and is going into the sewer, and he says, "You have what I want," to Michael. And Michael's just kind of chilling there standing. He's like just having a good old time. He has, "You have what I want." And he pushes Michael, and then already I'm in like panic mode. Like the sirens in my head are going off. Like, there's no way this is happening. This cannot be real. So then Michael body slams him, and I'm like, okay, Corey's gonna die. This is Michael's moment. And then Corey proceeds to kick the living shit out of Michael Myers. He beats his ass. He literally destroys him. And then he rips his mask off and runs away. And I completely tapped out. I was so done with this movie. I kind of was okay with some of the decisions they made, but to watch Michael Myers get his ass kicked in his own final movie. This is Michael's movie. This is his last movie. This is Michael Myers' send-off. Was just so silly. And then Michael Myers' iconic like core sit up, like where he just like doesn't move and just like his torso moves up. Becomes laughable because he has got his ass kicked, and he's sitting there in the sewer, and after getting his ass beat, he does the iconic like boop, and it like cuts away. And at that point, I'm not intimidated anymore. I'm like, okay, Michael's a little bitch. So anyway, Corey goes to this junkyard, back to his junkyard. And somehow he gets those bullies to come over there. He gets the bullies to follow him to the junkyard. I think they see, they're back at the gas station, and they come out of the gas station, and Corey scratches on the hood of their car. He says it's a Psycho, and he's waiting there on his motorcycle, and he's making sure that the kids notice him, and he drives away, and they meet him at the junkyard where his bike is sitting there, And I already kind of pieced two and two together. He has the mask now, but if you noticed, because he's works at the junkyard and because he's a mechanic, he has a like the the mechanic suit that Michael wears. So I kind of knew at this point, I was like, oh my God, he's gonna dress up as Michael Myers. He's gonna be like an imposter Michael. Which, lo and behold, they're all searching this junkyard, and one of the friends, they split up, and they go check on one of their friends who's supposed to be starting the car. And when they look, he has a thing through his eye. Really cool, gory moment, like a nice little jump, like what the heck? And Corey then starts his car, not his motorcycle, but like a tow truck, and he starts revving up the engine, like, here we go, here we come. And so they all start running. They're all freaked out. Two of them jump over the fence, and then one of them goes to find help. So Corey starts revving up the car. They both jump over the fence in time, but then Corey hits the fence, and one of them got over the fence, and then one of them climbed over the fence and is hanging on to this side of the fence. Corey comes and hits the fence, and that girl is now trapped under that fence, and there's barbed wire on it, so she's tangled, and when they try to lift up the fence, it hurts her because she's all cut and tangled into the barbed wire. Corey then I remember this woman's name because there's a funny moment after. He kills one of the bully's friends. Her name's Ashley. And then the main jock guy runs to Corey's dad. Also works at this junkyard. Corey's dad's watching over the junkyard so no one comes in at night. He's pretty much on night duty. And the kid alarms him. He's like, help me, help. So they run out. They see that this jock's friend's pinned under the fence, and he says, where's Stacy? And then the girl under the fence goes, Stacy has a cut here. I don't really know. I couldn't tell what really happened to her, but she's beaten down. And they're like, they killed Stacy. And I don't know. It's something about the line delivery was just so funny. And yeah, it was funny. A funny little moment for me, at least. And then, oh no, the jock is back a little bit. My bad. The jock's back. The dad checked on her. And then Michael appears. They see Michael or Corey over there. Somehow the dad gets between the jock. It's the jock far away, the dad, and Michael. The dad's checking on the girl trapped under the fence. Michael pops up behind him, or Corey, sorry. Corey's behind him, and the dad stands up, and the bully shoots the dad in the head because he was trying to shoot Corey. So stupid, so dumb. But anyway, then the bully runs over there and tries to save him, and the bully's like, hey, I'm here, I'm gonna get you out, I'm gonna get you, let's go. And she's like, Stacy's dead. And then he's like, don't worry, we're gonna make it out of here. And she goes, no, and you're next or something. She warns him. And then Corey's behind him and beats the fuck out of him. And then he I don't even remember what he does to the bully, but he kills the bully. And then the girl who's trapped under the fence, she's stuck, and a really messed up moment, and I it could be intentional to show how far Corey has gone. But this girl earlier in the movie, before he gets thrown off the bridge, when they're in this little moment, when they're bullying him, she's the only one to defend Corey. They're like, okay, she's like, we're going too far. Let's leave him alone. Come on, why are you so obsessed with this kid? Why do you keep making fun of this kid? Anyway, Corey says, I don't care about any, he doesn't say this, but pretty much he's like, it's a big fu to this girl because he stomps on her head. He bashes her head in with his foot, and then he gets in the car and runs over her head again. Also, some point in that whole confrontation, you find out Corey is now fully dressed as Michael. He has the mask on, he is in the jumpsuit, and he is on a killing spree. Corey then goes to the radio station, which was heard throughout the movie. You hear it every now and then. This guy's pretty much like not discrediting, but like not like talking bad about the situation that happened 4 years ago. And so Corey, that's his next target. And Allison, all this is like, oh no, I'm jumping ahead again. Corey, I think, hears that they're reporting that people are missing. So I think he goes to kill them. I think that's his incentive to go kill this guy. Anyway, he goes there and he walks in, and it's kind of this cool shot where it's like you see his reflection in the window behind the radio guy. And the radio guy turns around and he grabs his head. Corey grabs this guy's head and starts bashing it on the desk a bunch. And then when he pulls up his head one of the times, this was probably the most memorable kill in the movie. His face is all like beaten in, and one of his teeth falls out, and it's really cool because he pulls it up and the tooth falls out. It's really, really cool, like how they did it. It looks pretty real. And then because his face is so battered, his tongue is kind of like dangling out. And then Corey grabs scissors and cuts his tongue off. And so this guy's dead, and the tongue falls on the like the record player that's playing the music over the radio. And it's a kind of a cool little moment because every time the tongue goes around, the needle skips. So it's like playing music and it like the music skips. And then it cuts to Allison, who is hearing like the radio acting up, and she's like, what the heck's happening? But she goes home and tells Laurie pretty much like, I'm leaving, like you're wrong about Corey, you're crazy, you're so obsessed with Michael, you've always been obsessed with Michael. And so she leaves and she drives to the she drives to the direction of the radio station, and the antenna of the radio station is now on fire. And when she gets there, Laurie at her house has called into the cops because she's home alone. She's crying. She's really upset. Her daughter like hates her, or her granddaughter hates her. So she lights this jack-o'-lantern in her room, which is so weird. Every Halloween movie does that. Why would you have a jack-o'-lantern in your house? I mean, I get it. Maybe it's just like a candle, but I don't know. I don't think I'd ever put a real like pumpkin with a candle in my house. I'd put it outside. But anyway, she lights it and she phones in a suicide. And I was like, wow, they're really going for it. They're really going to make the worst Halloween movie. But then I remembered that there's supposed to be a fight between Michael and Laurie at some point. So I was like, okay, well, this is some sort of trick. And then she takes off like a jacket. And I was like, oh, they showed this in the trailer too. So Corey is now in that house walking up the stairs, and Laurie shoots herself. But she actually shoots a pumpkin. She shoots a pumpkin and it splats all over the wall. And Corey opens the door and she says, you really thought I'd kill myself? And she shoots him. She shoots him 3 times. He never gets to lay a finger on her, which I kind of do like in retrospect, because obviously this new Michael Myers, this new kid, wouldn't be able to touch Laurie Strode. She's been through it all. She's beaten the original Michael. So she goes on the stairs and he's on the floor, and she empties out the last 2 bullets in her gun, saying like, you came to kill me, come kill me, like come do it. And I was really worried at this point that we were going to get, the final battle was going to be Corey and Laurie and not Michael and Laurie. But nope, he's sitting there, and Allison comes home, and he starts laughing, and he's like, "You really think she was gonna like forgive you and believe you?" And so he grabs the knife and he stabs himself in the neck, completely retconning, not retconning, completely ruining any redemption for this character at all. But I guess he did deserve it. So he's dead, or bleeding out at least. And Allison comes in, and Lori, pulling one of the dumbest decisions. In 2018, she was so smart. She pulled off so many crazy tricks to defeat Michael. She grabs the knife out of Corey's neck and is holding it in her hands. Allison comes into the door, and she's like in shock. She's like, "Oh my God, you just killed him." Lori, instead of saying, "Look, he literally, Michael's mask is on the floor right there. Where would he have gotten that mask? Look, it's right there." She just sits there and is like crying. And Allison's like, "You're a monster." Like, blah, blah, blah. And she leaves. Again, she leaves, comes back, leaves. She comes back home for some reason. Maybe because she saw the tower on fire. Yeah, she leaves the house again. That's what she does. She leaves then. And then she gets a suicide call to come back at the end. But anyway, Lori's now home alone. She's crying. She's really upset. At this point, I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And now we're in the thick of it, because now we're sitting there in a really cool shot. She's sitting on like the wall, and she notices that the door's open. And I was like, here we go. Please be Michael. And lo and behold, the shot shows Michael's mask on the ground, and his hand like reaches from off the camera, grabs the mask, and he puts on the mask, and then he looks at Corey, and it's kind of a cool shot where they're looking at each other, and you can kind of see like Michael's like his eyes aren't there anymore. It's like just pure black. And then he proceeds to snap Corey's neck, and now Corey is officially dead, and we are now at the trailer for Halloween Kills. Anything that you saw in the trailer completely ruins this movie, because everything you saw in the trailer is the final confrontation. It lasts like 5 minutes. It literally is the shortest. 2018's final confrontation was so much better that it's really upsetting that this one is 5 minutes long and it's nothing new. So Lori notices that it's Michael. Michael's in the house now, and she runs away because she hears that he just decimated Corey. So Michael is in the house, so she runs into the pantry of the kitchen, and she starts, before she does that, she puts something in the microwave for like 45 seconds. Michael runs into the kitchen, walks into the kitchen, and he's walking around, he's searching, and Lori's in the pantry, and this little thing to close the blinds is dangling and hitting the wall. So Lori is sitting there, and she stops it, and Michael hears it, so Michael walks to the pantry, and then the microwave, it's foreshadowed earlier, because she makes the same thing in the movie, but whenever they make it, it explodes in the microwave. So it explodes again. This time Michael turns, and then Lori comes out and attacks Michael, and they're throwing each other around, they're fighting. This 60-year-old woman is somehow keeping up with Michael, just brute force. The reason it was believable in 2018 is because she outsmarts him. But anyway, they're fighting. You see the hand in the trailer where they put her hand in the garbage disposal. Nothing happens to her hand. She like headbutts him. He flies back, and then she starts like stabbing him, like hand, foot, like pinning him down to the table. And then she grabs her fridge and pulls it down and pins his leg, so he literally cannot move. She then goes on to state to Michael, like, I feared you my entire life. Like, you always had a hold over me. And now I just realize you're just a man who's going to stop breathing. And she slits his throat. She slits his wrists. She, like, stabs him everywhere. And she's like, she says that. And then Michael, in a really cool Michael moment, probably the only cool moment, he rips his hand through the knife that's pinning him down. He, like, pulls this way. So you see his hand like severed down the middle, and he's like he's strangling Laurie, and then it shows a little flash of like all their memorable moments in this timeline. So it's like zooming through them, and at this point I was like, if you're gonna kill Laurie, do it. Like this movie's already bad. You can't piss me off anymore. And I kind of think it would have been a cool way to send it off because these characters are known for being paired together. They're two peas in a pod, right? And then all of a sudden, after Allison got this call that suicide's been reported in, Allison comes barging in the house screaming no. She grabs Michael's arm and slams the table's here and his arm's off. She slams it and she snaps his arm. And at this point, I was like, wow, you really made the weakest Michael Myers in the last movie. He can't kill anybody. He sucks at everything. He's weak. He's a pussy. And I was like, she was like, you're not gonna let him kill you, Grandma, or something. And then again, nothing against the actors. I'm making these snarky remarks fully for the script and how they wrote the story. But anyway, they then are sitting there. Michael has officially tapped out. Laurie's alive. And this is probably the best part of the film, what's about to happen. So, Will Patton, Deputy Frank in the movie, that's his name. He comes in and he's like, oh my God, it's Michael. And Laurie's like, he's dead. And then Allison says, not dead enough. Well, then they tie him to the top of the car like a deer and drive him to a junkyard. And it's kind of cool because the whole town kind of rejoices. The sheriff comes, the sheriff comes and one of the cops says, this isn't how we do things. And he notices that it's Michael. So he goes, tonight we do that. This is how we're going to do it. And a kind of like a cool comment saying like, Michael has traumatized us forever. Like, we are going to make sure he's dead. So they bring him to this junkyard, and you know those TikToks where they like put like watermelon in those like grinders? Yeah, well, Michael has a one-way ticket to one of those. They're putting Michael right in that. Michael's going straight into that grinder. So Laurie stands up, and kind of a cool moment. The little boy who cuts his toenails in Halloween 2018. You see him. He's a little grown up. He's there. The woman who gets the broken light bulb through her throat, she makes an appearance earlier in the film, and then she's also there at the end to watch Michael get killed. And then Laurie dumps his body into the compactor, and this actually was probably the best kill in the movie, which is so awesome that Michael has the best death, because that's how it should be if it's his final appearance and he actually is going to die. He gets grinded, and you see the whole thing. You see his body get mashed up in this machine. And a really cool moment for the movie, and that's how Michael goes out. And then some resolution at the end. Laurie's like content. Allison leaves Haddonfield, which I hate that stupid movie trope. You stay there when there's a murderer there, but the second the trouble's gone, you say, screw the memories, I'm out of here. And then she leaves, which I don't think that makes much sense. But anyway, the movie ends with Deputy Frank coming to Laurie's house, and earlier in the movie they talk about cherry blossoms and wanting to see them. And it kind of gives you a little hope and optimism that Laurie now has a love interest and that they are going to live happily ever after, and Laurie's free from evil. And there's a few shots of an empty house, which is a callback to the 2018 film, I'm pretty sure, where it showed the Laurie's house, the bunker one, but you heard his breathing still, insinuating that he was still alive. This time it's completely silent. It's showing the empty rooms, and then in the last one it shows where Laurie wrote the memoir, and then it shows Michael's mask on the desk, and it ends. And that is it. This went way longer than I expected. Wow, 54 minutes. But that is Halloween Ends and my spoiler discussion. I really did not like this movie. Every time I talk about it, I get really upset. it is just very upsetting that this is the direction they went in the final installment of this franchise and this trilogy. I had so much optimism and hope that they finally would have got it right. They got 2018 down to a T. It was so good. Kills was still good. The beginning of Kills is like chef's kiss with Loomis coming back and everything. But this was not it. This was not the way to end this franchise. It was really upsetting. Corey Cunningham was not the move. And that is all I really have to say. I'm very disappointed in this movie. If you listen to my spoiler review and you want to go see it, I recommend watching it on Peacock if you have it, because I don't think it's worth price of admission to go see it. It is probably the worst movie I've seen this year. No, I have not watched Morbius in full, but at least Morbius didn't pull off character assassination, because that's what it felt like. They assassinated Michael Myers. Thank you so much for watching this first review. This is a long episode for my first ever movie review on this channel. I just want to talk about it, and I think you can only really talk about this movie with spoilers because of how weird it gets. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna probably talk about some other movies that have already come out, and not new movies. I'm trying to see Terrifier 2. Big fan of the first one, and I think the second one looks really good. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I gave Halloween Ends a 1.5 out of 5 on my Letterboxd. I'll try to find a way to link it or post a picture of it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.